My name is Noel Kiernan and I've been a naturalist all my life. I inherited a farm in North Longford in 1997, and after selling this and wanting to purchase something which had more potential for nature, I ended up in South Longford near Loughrea here. We're farming in the region of 200 acres here of various land types, including from woodland up to good grazing land. About 100 acres or so is essentially the farm, and 100 acres is forest, with about 40 acres of rough and 20 acres of lake. And it has huge variation in the vegetation types and the potential to experiment and see where we can go with this as far as farming is concerned. This is the pond we dug out. Took it out not exactly sure what we were going to end up with, but it was a piece of ground which lended itself to the idea. It had various depths of shell marl, and we just moved the shell marl out and banked it up to keep the water in, and lo and behold we ended up with species like this coming in. The marsh helleborine, just in flower now. When the river floods, then we would have the various species of birds coming in from Northern Europe, such as the widgeon. And if the flood is high enough, they'll actually feed through the trees. That's their habitat, that's where they like to feed, away from trouble. This is a nice little bunch of common spotted orchids there. We found that traditional breeds suit the management here because they're easier to feed. We're quite happy on the species that are found in the meadows and in the pasture. Whereas if we had more commercial cattle, we would obviously need to reseed and fertilise. Recently we've gone for a rare breed called the Bo Riacht. So we're trying to build up a genetic resource of these in whatever way we can, whether they become an actual breed or a type of cattle. Most of these have brindle in their background. They're a mixture of shorthorn in any case, so they're a suitable breed for an organic situation like this one. So we're out here in one of the pasture fields, and one of the things we've been concentrating on is to encourage clover. You can see it here, the white flower. And you can also see that bumblebees love it. There's not just one species, there's several species on the clover. And when you consider topping, obviously the spear thistle here is one of the most targeted species for topping. But you can see already that the pollinators are moving on. As the clover goes out of flower, the pollinators are starting to come in on the thistles. And you can see the butterflies here, many species. You can see that there's several species of pollinator also, more so even than on the clover. So when we talk about topping pasture, we have to consider the pollinators especially. So I won't be topping this until the thistle goes into seed and all the flower heads are complete. Then I'll top. It's not a case of not topping, it's a case of timing and when to top. So this is a nice large area of blackberry bush. It's the next flower in the sequence. The pollinators go from clover to thistle to blackberry in that sequence, and that's only one of the sequences. You'll get different sequences on different vegetative areas, providing nectar for different pollinators. I'm a forester by trade actually, and we've planted about 100 acres of trees, mainly native types here on the farm. It's the case all over the world that our forests are in trouble, and these are regarded as the lungs of the earth. Also they improve soils and are generally benign. So this is a little area here that we planted. We put them in because they're plants whose seeds were collected locally, and as you can see here, this one is going to have plenty of seed this year. We hope to pick seed from this plant for the native woodland scheme. The reason for this was it's a conservation notion, so that the less common species we can have a seed orchard here and we can pick them and we can grow them on for people who want or who need them in the future. What we need to do is continue the work so that other farmers can learn from it, will be useful as we progress the whole notion of biodiversity protection and increase, or if you like, to stop the extinction of species.